Okay.
So, Kai, how in the world did the Soul Surfers Camp come to be?
Gosh, David. First off, thank you for letting me share my message a little bit and be a guest on your show.
Yeah, my pleasure, man.
But I guess it started. I wanted to be a teacher. I didn't know what I was doing when I went to college. So long story shorter, I took 8 years to get through college.
Okay.
First 4 years, I wasted a lot of my parents' money.
Yeah.
And then I had to pay for it myself, and I started putting it together.
Yeah.
And what I landed on was I wanted to be a high school. I wanted to eventually become a college professor, and I
Okay.
wanted to teach science of some sort. Math wasn't ever my strong suit, but I kind of got through algebra. And once I got through algebra, I was kind of really interested in that. So physics is sort of what I landed on. So I majored in physics. And then brought it down to elementary education with an emphasis in science, middle school science.
Cool.
Taught middle school science, 8th grade specifically. And it was an earth science base back then. So earth science was geology, astronomy, oceanography, meteorology, and paleontology.
Okay.
And so I taught little bits of all of that. And as it turned out, every single bit of earth science has everything to do with surfing. And I've been a lifelong surfer since, I tell people all the time, I don't remember the first waves I've caught.
Yeah.
That's how long I've been surfing. And so I taught middle school science for almost 10 years. Ended up not enjoying the, I don't know how to say it. Always loved the kids, but didn't like the way the principal, pushed down on us, the teachers. And so I started surf camp with, I was a bartender at the time in the summers, and it was really just to do something different. Yeah. And I knew I could use my skills as a teacher that I've been doing already for a little while, to start a surf camp. And so for about a year, I researched surf camps. There's a girl named Nancy Emerson in Hawaii that I studied and just what she was doing. There were a couple of camps out west in California. Paskowitz was one of them. And I just studied what other people did with their surf camps. And so in 2001, I started the first week of surf camp with 3 kids. Wow. And we did surf camp from 11 a.m. to I think it was 3 p.m.
Yeah.
My rationale was it's the hottest time of the day. The best place to be during that time is at the beach.
Yeah.
It backfired a little bit in that's also when the sun is the strongest.
Yeah.
Which isn't really that good to be in.
Yeah.
So we scaled it back a little bit and went 9 to 12:30. And but I guess to answer your question, it was really starting surf camp was really just a way of, I had summers off and a way to be busy in the summertime.
Yeah.
So for several years, it was really just a small little operation. I think we had 36 kids that first year. We had a newspaper article come out in the family life section. Old friend of mine, Bates Haygood, was something in the family life section, and a girl came out, took some pictures, and literally it came out the Thursday before my camp was going to start the next week. Wow. So we got 36 kids from that. Yeah. And then the following year, I think we had like 50 something kids. I think Jenny Sanford hit me up. I was already full, 6 kids per week. And so I created another camp in the afternoon for Jenny's kids, Marshall, Landon, and then later Bolton and Blake. Wow. Mark Sanford's kids. Yeah. And so it just kind of has been snowballing ever since.
That's great. And the best part is, I think, just the way that you start each camp with talking about just respecting the ocean. Like I love the ocean. It's fantastic. It's a great place to be, but I think there's a really good balance in what you do between, hey, we're here to rip waves, but we're also here to honor this wonderful setup that nature has provided. So
Yeah.
where does the love of the ocean? I mean, I know you've spent just hours and hours and hours in it, but where did that responsibility come from, and why you feel like, because it's hard to get people's attention, and I know that you have that teaching background, but like, why is that message so important to you to really try to give the kids?
Yeah. I just think I think as a surfer or as a nature athlete or whatever we are, um, that we have a bit of a responsibility to help maintain the beauty of the beaches. I mean, for what I do, the beaches, the ocean. Um, I've always felt like I've always felt like surfers were environmentalists just as much as they were surfers.
Yeah.
And though that's probably not 100% true, I still feel like we should be environmentalists and doing just a little bit. I mean, I don't do that much, but I do as much as I can. And if I see trash in the water or on the beach, I'll pick it up, put it
Yeah.
in my pocket,
Yeah.
and I'll just, discard it later. Um, so it, I guess the love comes from, gosh, I mean, I was brought up as a European. My parents are German, and I don't know if European matters anything at all.
Right.
But there was always you always had more of a responsibility than just for yourself.
Yeah.
You had I think it's important. I was taught to think it's important
Yeah.
that there's more to it than just us, and that we should be looking out for one another and looking out for the beauty of of everything. I mean, it doesn't even have to be the beach or the ocean. Just the beauty of the side of the streets. I find it hard to believe that people just throw trash out of their car windows.
Yeah.
That just blows me away. I don't understand
I know.
that.
Yeah, I definitely think it has something to do with upbringing. Now,
Yeah,
when you were small, I mean, you must have competed in surf competitions. I mean, was that a part of your past there?
absolutely. It was a rite of passage for all of us, all of us surfers, and there really weren't that many of us. But there was a good crew of us, and I grew up on Isle of Palms. We had a nice healthy rivalry with the James Island kids and the Folly
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, the night before surf contests, because all the contests were on Folly, we spent the night with our friends on James Island and Folly Beach,
Yeah.
and woke up early, went surfing, and then competed against each other.
That's great.
But I was terrible. I was a terrible competitor. I would get so nervous, butterflies. I never really, I don't think I won a contest when I was in my teens or earlier. But I always enjoyed it
Yeah.
to some degree because I was always with my friends, and there was always a little bit of, who's got bragging rights or whatever.
Yeah.
And even though I never won anything, I always felt like I was right in the mix, and that I had plenty of reason to be hanging out with the guys that were always beating me.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
that must have been, because I grew up in more traditional sports, basketball, baseball, soccer, all those things. And man, waves, you can't manufacture them, right? And I know that there's plenty of things that people can do now, wave pools and all that. But
Right.
what are the greatest things that when you look back on competing, even at that young age, like what are the lessons that you learn from trying to compete? I mean, it's such a variable environment where this wave could be better than that wave, and picking the waves. Like what's the big takeaway that you learn from those competitions?
Just from competition. I mean, I was always competitive. I played soccer growing up, so that was my big sport, playing soccer. That was, I mean, between soccer and surfing, ended up surfing won, but soccer was in first place for a long, long time.
Yeah.
But what I've learned just from competing was just trying real hard and having a goal, and setting a goal, and then trying to reach that goal. And I felt like I reached a bunch of soccer goals, and no pun intended, but even in surfing, I had goals, especially later on. I think when I was younger in surfing, I didn't really have much forethought than what was right in front of me at the time. But in the long run, I think what I've learned is just, well, patience,
Yeah.
good, healthy competition, trying really hard, and then being done with it when the heat was over,
Yeah.
still being able to, um, hopefully most of the time shake
Yeah.
hands with the people, that I was competing against.
Yeah. And so now, as a parent and doing this, and it seems like every week when you're running the camp, it just seems like so many kids that you're moving through the camp. And so you have so much uh, impact and influence over
Yep.
some of these young folks. Like, what do you hope at the end of that week, when those campers walk away, that they really remember? I mean, of course, we want them to be better surfers.
Right.
But the way that you've modeled the camp, I really like it. You've got a lot of great counselors and all that. But what do you hope that those, aside from them saying, yeah, I learned how to surf, oh, I had a lot of fun, like, what do you hope that those campers are going home and really telling their parents?
Yeah. I mean, first off, I hope that they have fun.
Yeah.
And that really and truly, that's probably third in line with
Yeah.
what we hope to accomplish. So I always say, we're going to teach surfing at a high level. I think shooting real high means that we fall somewhere in between, which means maybe way up here,
Yeah.
but not, only down here, but that the kids learn at a high level, that they learn surfing, that they are safe. So I want them to be safe, and that's why we group them in smaller groups, and even have apprentices that work with the instructors. And then fun is the third thing that always comes up, or that hopefully comes up because of the other things.
Right.
But I don't know I honestly, David, I don't know what we've done to earn so much regard and respect from, because I hear it every week. The parents are impressed with what we're doing. They're impressed with our counselors.
Yeah.
They're impressed with the program. And I think having high expectations is a must if you want something to be spectacular or great.
Yeah.
So I think it has something to do with high expectations.
Yep.
What do I want the kids to walk away with? But I also think that there's got to be an individual pursuit of maybe catching a bigger wave or being able to make a drop or something like that. So I hope some of that gets not only pursued but accomplished by kids. Some kids are easier, where it might be just standing up on a surfboard and riding it for 20 yards or something.
Yeah.
But other kids are, have a little bit of a higher threshold for success. And so you hope that they too, I guess I just hope that everybody sets goals and gets to a certain goal, but also has learned that individual pursuit, but also being able to share the waves with their fellow surfers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. I'm probably not putting it into really good words, but
Well, I
gosh,
think the high expectations, I like that you said that.
yeah,
Because I find that high expectations can be a bit of a double-edged sword, right? Where you have high expectations and you want to try to build this work ethic, but sometimes it doesn't go well.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you prepared and prepared and prepared and you had your surf workout, but you didn't know how to know that there weren't going to be any waves tomorrow, and you go out there and it's flat. That can be disappointing. But then sometimes I find that the way that you've structured the camp is it also builds this kind of inherent coping mechanism for a kid to be able to say, like, yeah, we all showed up today. We carried these boards out here and lugged them out here, but unfortunately the break wasn't good, or it rained and we didn't think it was going to rain. And I've always found that in your environment and the culture that you've built, whether you've done it by design, you've built some resilience and some opportunities for resilience.
Yeah.
Certainly I applaud that. And I think it's kind of like, and I'm impressed that you run it so consistently over the, I mean, you pack a lot. How many sessions are you running in the summer now?
We're doing 11 this year. Yeah, we've
That's
done 12 in the past, and I think COVID year we did 13 sessions.
Yeah.
Because school didn't start for a while, and
Yeah.
we just said, hey, let's just keep going.
Yeah, I love how you powered through during COVID. I thought that was great. Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to share my story, which is the reason why I know so much about surf camp was one of the highlight memories of my parenting days, which I'm still parenting, is being a camper in your camp. My kids wanted to go to surf camp, and I reached out and said, would you mind if, because I didn't know how to surf, I have a long way to go, would you mind if I enroll as a camper? And you were nice enough to let me do that. So I was in camp as a camper with my kids the whole week. And I can't tell you how many times that I have shared that story with other dads and even moms. And I've said, sign up, be a kid for a week, and just like let go of, the fact that you can't be. So one of my greatest accomplishments is my Soul Surfer certificate. I have a certificate and a picture, and I'm like sticking out like a sore thumb with all the campers. And I appreciate you creating that environment. And my kids, to this day, they still talk about how wonderful that week as a family was for us. So I appreciate that just wholesome environment that you've created. And I like just however you've gone about recruiting your leaders. I really like the energy of the counselors. I think that that's a great growth opportunity for young people to do and to work with you. And so I think it's great. If people want to learn more about the camp, and I know that there's 1,000 people a day, it seems like, move into the Charleston coastal area, and people watching this outside of the area are probably hoping that they can find a camp like yours. But if people want to connect with you and learn more about your camp, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Really just email is how I've been communicating. So kai@soulsurfers.net.
Okay. And I'll throw that into the notes so people can see it. But do you have a website, Instagram, or anything?
We've got a website, www.soulsurfers.net.
Awesome.
And then my email is kai@soulsurfers.net. We're Instagram Soul Surfers, just plain Soul Surfers.
Okay.
And gosh, we're on Facebook. We've got a Facebook page where we publish our pictures. We've got a photographer that comes out and takes pictures. And we just post them on Facebook because it's free and easy, and people can share and, steal the pictures off of Facebook if they want. So, yeah.
Well, I can't thank you enough for being here. Guys, I've got a lot of great people that are here. You might see other videos after this, and check out all the wonderful people that are on this positive energy interview series. And really wanted you guys to get the chance to meet Kai. He's been good to me, good to my family, and I hope you'll catch a wave with him soon. He tried to teach me how to surf better in Costa Rica one time, and boy, that was the most challenging waves I have ever seen in my life. I think I finally got out there. I wanted to quit, but you inspired me, and I appreciate that opportunity. So guys, check out Soul Surfer, and Kai, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks so much, David.
See you, buddy.